Good evening, everybody. It's the Rangers Review full-time match reaction after tonight's pulsating draw at Ibrox. 2-apiece it ended. We're finally here. It's a late show, so apologies. I've seen a number of comments coming in. Johnny Alcatraz says, good morning, I'm Derek Clark, and welcome to the Rangers Review midnight briefing. It's almost midnight. Only just, it's a late one. Joshua was down in the mix zone for us, folks. Speaking to Jack Butland, you can see his reaction on our YouTube page and on our social media channel, so do go and check it out. Joshua, what a game that was this evening. Rangers, of course, took the lead through Abdallah Sima. Fantastic strike just before half-time. PSV scored the equaliser. A well-worked goal from them, it has to be said. Sangari scoring just as he did last year before the goal of the night for me. An absolutely sensational Rangers move, finished off by the substitute. And a new signing, it looks like, Rabi Matondo. He was absolutely superb when he came on. And then PSV replied pretty shortly after. Luke de Jong with a header, a poor goal to lose from a set piece. And that's how it ended. Matondo had a brilliant volley from the edge of the area that just flew over and right at the death. Danilo, you could have done better if he lifted the ball over the goalkeeper, but it ended 2-apiece. What was that like to witness tonight?
Yeah, well, sorry we're late. Obviously, just shows our dedication, Derek, that we've not patched this off for the morning. So we'll keep it brief tonight and speak to you in the morning as well. And mention here for a fantastic comment that Stevie will be starting his run soon. The mix zones tend to be after these games. You can spend a lot of time waiting about, so that's where we've been. You can hear from Jack Butland on our YouTube channel, Todd Campbell as well soon. I thought overall it was a good performance, Derek, to be honest. You've got to, I guess, consider this within this game, within the context of this game, how good a team PSV are and the quality that Rangers are keeping quiet at one end, which I think they did relatively successfully throughout the whole game. I think you're right, their first goal is well worked. I think their second goal was straight because it's from a defensive corner and it stops Rangers from taking a lead over. The first half, defensively, I thought Rangers were pretty good. I think the expected goals they conceded was 0.27. There was a few cutbacks and crosses that weren't converted, so that doesn't tell the full story, but there wasn't many clear-cut opportunities that PSV created. I think their first goal was a rare occasion when they found space in the opposition box. Rangers' frustration, I think, was that naturally when at Ibrox, when you spend time without the ball, the home crowd are going to get frustrated, and understandably so. But I think more so it was that when Rangers did get the ball, they didn't really have a threat in transition. I thought at times they were holding back from going direct because going direct quickly into space wasn't working. But then they didn't have the options to really pass through the pitch, so then they were just looking direct. But by that time, PSV had kind of recovered. Sima's goal kind of comes out of nothing, but I think the thing is Rangers' front three is still clicking. Overall, this is a real performance to build on for me because I think you saw a lot of character, but a lot of good individual performances again against a team who would outspend Rangers comfortably in any transfer window and have so much quality kind of littered throughout their side. I think the important thing tonight for Rangers was that even while Sima and Dessers didn't have brilliant individual games, Dessers gets 2 assists, Sima scores that goal. Yes, I thought outside of that, they didn't have brilliant games, but I guess in a game of this nature, if they're going to get those numbers, you'd probably take that. Rabi Matondo continues a redemption arc that we can get onto it, but I don't think anyone saw coming. But, I mean, the composure that he had, Derek, to go and finish that chance was fantastic. And it just shows how big confidence can be in football. I remember watching Rabi Matondo up at Dingwall away, up at Ross County in 23rd of December last year, and he went through on goal and he just looked absolutely shot of confidence. You compare that to tonight, I think you have to say well done to Michael Beale for the substitutions, for bringing Matondo back into the European squad. And I thought that was an occasion where Rangers did get it right in transition. Campbell carried the ball out of pressure, and I thought he was just different, a different level again throughout the game. His ability in the first half to buy fouls or just find solutions even when there wasn't any teammates close to him just stood out to me. And just asked him in the Mix Zone interview, which you can watch on our YouTube channel soon, what do you think your best position is? And I think sometimes he feels liberated when he's in that higher role, which, but again, I'll let the answer speak for itself. The pass from Dessers is perfect, and again, he had some frustrating moments tonight, but he puts it right on the plate for Matondo, and Matondo slides home. Asked Jack Butland about that, and he said, look, he's a great guy. pretty loud character, but he's someone who's fantastic around the group, and he's waited a long time for that moment. Both Butland and Cantwell spoke glowingly about the atmosphere. Butland's obviously first real experience and I guess Cantwell as well, of a real big European night compared to Servette, which was still significant, but not the same expectation levels compared to tonight. Sorry, I'm stuttering. Overall, as a Leon. Overall, in summary, I think that it was probably as good as you could hope for from Rangers without that set-piece goal, because they kept PSV pretty quiet, although it wasn't a glittering display on the ball. And I think it gives them a lot to build on. I think they can take confidence into next week. And I think when you take this performance in isolation, you can see lots of things that are building. You can see lots of individual performances. I thought Butland was great, really commanding at crosses. I thought Raskin off the ball was, again, just an absolute animal. Makes up so much ground to press for that first goal. And in a game where Rangers had to punch upwards against a stronger opponent in European competition, I thought they did pretty well. So lots to be confident about for that one. After me, Derek sets it up in the exact same way as it was last year, with PSV equalising through a corner and the game being tied 2-2, going overtime to open next week. I think you might see Rabbi Matondo play a part, because the space that's going to be on offer there will probably be even more than there was tonight.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. Let's get to a few of them. Big Handsome says, good and timely subs from the gaffer. Yeah, I thought the subs were good tonight from Michael Beale. Comment here as well, saying Matondo has to start now as we need pace and width. He certainly has done himself the world of good in terms of putting them into Michael Beale's first team plans, and he spoke very highly of him in the post-match interviews as well. I thought it was a really good addition to the team. There's a comment that came in on Abdallah Sima. Robert Burns says, what about Sima first half goal excluded? I've got to admit, Joshua, I could see him getting hooked at halftime if he continued that sort of performance until he scored that goal. I think he got a lot of confidence and belief from that, but certainly his first touch was a tad heavy, picking the wrong option at times. Didn't think he looked too great in that first half at Abdallah Sima.
Yeah, obviously goal excluded is quite a big caveat in any kind of football conversation. But I know what Robert's saying. He didn't have a good half outside of that. I thought he improved after the break for the kind of 15, 20 minutes he was on the pitch. I think he looks more comfortable on the right-hand side. We spoke about him a lot in pre-season, Derek. I don't think he's a polished forward who is going to excel all the time when he's facing up his marker and he has to unsettle defences. I think he's better when he's running over distance on the right, or when he has an opportunity to attack the ball from the right, and I don't really think you've seen that so far. But yeah, I mean, the strike kind of speaks for itself, and again, I think that's the difference for Rangers tonight, that even though they don't have real fluency in the final third, it wasn't a performance where you thought everything's clicking up there, or whenever the ball went up it's going to stick, or whenever the ball goes up Rangers are really dangerous. You know, I remember so many European nights here where you just knew as soon as the ball goes up to Morelos, and to prime Morelos, for example, he's going to be able to carry Rangers forward. And then it wasn't that type of first half. But then Desser's press as well for the first goal. Raskin jumps up and Sima scores what is an absolutely fantastic strike. I mean, I think you've got to give him a lot of credit for that. And then Desser's again, probably will draw criticism for elements of his performance tonight. A difficult task, obviously, up against two centre backs on your own. But then the ball, you can't sniff it. One
of the best assists I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was worried he would have been offside, but he was.
So was I. So was I, and I was right. I was up at the Copeland end of the gantry tonight, and I was putting up my tweeting capital letters, and I was thinking, I think this might be offside, but it wasn't. It wasn't. So happy days. But I thought it was brilliant, right on the money for Matondo, and again, just the difference in a player who has confidence, because Matondo, when he played in pre-season last season, and there was always the risk of, okay, how will he do against deep defences? But how many top teams don't have, fast wingers who can dribble at pace? It's you need it, I think, in any game state. But it just didn't happen from last season. He didn't look as natural off the right. He didn't have a run of games. And he obviously has that chance at Ross County away, and Beale speaks after about a crisis of confidence. He was genuinely like a new player tonight. When he got the ball, there was kind of expectation. He's so effective at carrying over distance when he gets going. And I just think that the difference is that his final action was spot on. And when he did get one-on-one, because it's not an easy finish. Yes, you've got a lot of the goal to aim at, but you've got time to think. You've got pressure on you. I thought it was really, really composed. And I think you could tell that his teammates were delighted for him as well. Again, I think you've got to give the manager credit for his substitutions. Lundstrom came on and made a good impact for me as well. I think you'll definitely see him play over there in Eindhoven. So Fuentes good on the ball. Again, there's a couple of moments where I think his man got ahead of him on the right-hand side, but I think that's to be expected, especially when you're committing forward a little bit. But yeah, huge credit to Matondo, who, I mean, if you told us, Derek, at the start of pre-season that Matondo would be the one who was kind of the shining light for Rangers, or the one making a big impact in the Champions League playoff home to PSV, I don't think we'd have really believed you. I guess Beale, as he said in midweek or his last press conference, he's open to it. He remains a player who has been a lot of clubs have spent money on him for a reason, because there is something there, and it's about trying to uncover it. And tonight, I thought he took a huge step towards making a sustained impact at Ibrox.
Yeah, absolutely, and a good comment coming in from Joe McCallum. He says, Matondo must have an identical twin. I thought we brought the wrong one over last year. He's been reborn this season. And let's get to the pressing matter, Joshua. Colin Williams says, Joshua, I was the row behind you and Ewan. What type of pie did you have?
Well, that's freaky, because I feel like I was being watched eating my pie, Derek. But do you know what, Colin? I didn't have one at the Servette game, and I regretted it in the second half. So Ewan was going down. I said to Ewan, can you get me one? I think it was a steak pie. It was very nice. Very nice. Thanks for watching and the pie eating and the video, Colin.
There you go, Colin. Hopefully that's answered your question there. Good to see that Elvis Brown, I met at the Bury Rangers Legends game in the summer. Me and Mr. Graham Corkin, that the Warrington Bears on the bus back to Warrington now get home about 3 a.m. That's what it's all about, following Rangers, of course, heading up to Ibrox. So safe journey down the road, gentlemen. Jordan says, Beale got everything right tonight, which is promising. Certainly gives a lot of hope and confidence going into next week, Joshua. I don't think anyone's going to get carried away. It's going to be very difficult. But as the comment came in, I can't find it for the life of me, PSV are under intense pressure. We know what happened last year.
Yeah.
So, their fans will be turning up expectant. Michael Beale, I think, was very bullish in his interview on TNT Sports, as it's now called, after the game. He says they better not underestimate Rangers, because they'll go over there and they'll give it a right good go again. I expect it to be very similar to what we've seen tonight next week.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think that you're right. Obviously, PSV, I think, naturally have been keen to play down the revenge narrative, apart from their social media admins.
Yeah. They never get the memo.
Yeah, exactly. But can you imagine if it was the other way around and it was the tie was at Ibrox for the second leg and PSV had knocked Rangers out? Of course, that's going to come into it if they don't have a fast start. I think it's set up for Rangers to play into space, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see maybe Matondo even start that game, because for all PSV strengths on the ball, and I think you could see that. I mean, although they didn't have a high expected goal in the first half, loads of high quality chances, Derek. You could see in the pace that they moved it, the ball, the way that the wingers received the ball. They were a constant threat. And I thought Rangers' defence outside those two moments did really well to mitigate that constantly. I thought both the fullbacks actually, again, probably outside of that goal, had a really good game. I thought they actually did very well up against two difficult wingers. Raskin was back so quickly to help Barisic consistently. So it will require a big defensive performance. It will require a bit of a kind of trademark, more of a Steven Gerrard style Braga away kind of performance to get Rangers through. But they can go with confidence, because I thought tonight, when they were able to transition quickly through the pitch, they were able to cause PSV a lot of issues. And although they're the ones at home, although the game's level and they'll still be the favourites to go through, there is, of course, going to be opportunity for Rangers. So we'll be building up loads to that. We'll have lots of reaction on the YouTube channel and the website tomorrow, in video form and written form. So loads of content coming your way. Make sure you are subscribed.
Well said. Right, we'll let Joshua head on home, because it's almost nearing midnight. It's been certainly quite an evening at Ibrox. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show. Safe journey down the road to wherever you're heading back home, folks. We will be back on tomorrow morning, myself and Ewan, at 9:30 to delve into the game in more detail and talk about the latest Rangers news and all the fallout from Michael Beale's press conference and the rest. So we hope you can join us for that. But good night to Joshua and everyone in the chat, and we'll speak to you again soon.